back, everybody, to AWS Security Live, live from AWS reInvent in Las Vegas. This is a show where we get to talk to you all about security and solving some of those security challenges with our AWS partners. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ryan Orsi, and I run a team of cloud security, identity, and cloud operations partner specialists. It means I get to have a lot of fun around the world designing things with cool partners. And my other co-host is...
Thank you, Ryan. My name is Himanshu. I lead the team of our security and identity specialists. We help customers and partners get their security outcomes using AWS native security services and partner tools. And speaking of partners, we have
one here.
Yeah.
We found one.
How are you guys?
Doing well. How are you?
Enjoying the conference. It's amazing what you guys did over here. So it's always the best party in town is reInvent.
Well, and Oron from Wiz, thank you, sir, for joining us.
Oron, you want to give our audience members a quick introduction?
Yeah, I'm Oron Noah. I'm the VP of Product Extensibility and Partnership at Wiz, and I'm super excited to be here today, guys.
Well, fantastic. Let's kick this off with a little, we got to go over the ground rules here, Oron.
What do we have over here?
We have some gold, real gold. You know, good thing there's bodyguards around here, guys. You know, this is the Acronym swear jar of Security Live. It's one of our favorite games to play with guests. Generally, if we're going to say an acronym, let's spell it out first, and then you can use it from that point on. But if you use an acronym without that, you owe the swear jar, who's very hungry right now. Chris Betts, our CISO, made it through the entire segment scot-free.
That is awesome. Funny enough, like we were not being very, strict when Brian was here earlier, but Brian did slip in a few acronyms.
So, Brian Mendenhall owes the swear jar.
You know, one of the things, so this is a learning conference, as you know, and we do all we can, the best to help developers and builders learn through the process. So one of those learning curves is to make sure, no acronyms.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe a place to start here, Oron, is, well, we're talking about cloud security and protecting the cloud. Maybe you could talk about Wiz and what you do to protect the cloud environment.
Yeah, so Wiz basically be able to connect to customer cloud environments. Okay, we'll be able to basically protect everything they run and build in the cloud.
Yeah.
And how are you doing that is simple. We have an agentless solution. We have Wiz as a platform.
Right.
Okay, we have what we call Wiz Code, Wiz Cloud. We're able to connect to the cloud environment, see all of the running technologies, services, and then combine of it all the different risks. So we'll be able to see vulnerabilities, misconfiguration, identity, malware, secrets, PII, and then come up with what is your most critical attack path, the toxic combination as we call it, in order to help you remediate your cloud risk. I get that.
I got you for the private identifiable information, but yes, I think very relevant. And I think it's been a journey for Wiz, right? Help our customers and audience help understand, because over the period of years and just recently, as recent as a few months, you've been trying to bring more and more building blocks of these services to secure cloud workloads and threat detection. And now I think even on the not just on the detection part, but on the response side as well. So it'll be great, if you can, lay out, what are those building blocks?
Yeah, so Wiz is a company that's born in the cloud to protect the cloud. This is where we start 4 years ago.
It takes one to know one.
Yeah, exactly.
True. Yeah.
But then, if you think about that, you also have your shift-left strategy. Now, what happened in the code area, right? Fixing things in the cloud is expensive. If you have problem over there, it's expensive.
When it's already running, it's in production, say.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then we come up with what we call Wiz Code. So now we have the ability to shift left, engage with the developer early as possible in the process. So we have an IDE solution that be able to scan their code while they're building it, connect to the repository, find any misconfiguration, even when they do CI/CD, and even when they deployed. And the same policy, they define the policy in Wiz, and the same policy applied to once you write, build, deployed, or run in the cloud.
So policy at, say, the application level, but all the way back enforced through when the developer's writing code in their own integrated development environment, known as an IDE. Oron, did we get him on that one, too?
Anyway, CI/CD is a well-known term, so I do like that.
For sure.
I think AI and CI/CD, I think those are general wildcard passes.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's really cool to have policy defined in the application layer sense. obviously, compliance, regulatory compliance, security teams that are enforcing guardrails and controls in that environment, that's where they think, that's where they operate. But developers, and I love what you are doing to help developers, jobs become easier. Generally, we talk a lot about, we just had Chris Betts, our CISO on, we make everyone's job responsible for security in some way. Developers don't want to be security experts. They want to be creative code developers, right? But
they are masters,
Wiz
right?
is helping those developer personas, those people in their day-to-day jobs in the tool they're using, actually make sure they adhere to the policies that the security teams care about and they're enforcing.
Exactly.
And speaking of the journey, I think like you said, Wiz is born in the cloud, and I know your journey started in AWS, and it's been going in AWS as well, and you're growing both as a customer and a partner, which is really exciting. Perfect combination there. I think one of the things that talking to customers when we go, we get in front of customers quite a bit, asking for what are the areas where they need help, what are the areas where we can help them jointly with partners. Oftentimes this question comes up is that there are cloud native security services, and then there's Wiz, right? How and where is the complementary, and what is the better together story? And I think that's something like we obviously tell customers quite often about the enrichment, but I think we'd love to hear your perspective as well. Like, how do you view that as a partner?
So first of all, we in Amazon have a great partnership. Okay, we have a lot of native services that we use, but we also integrate with many existing services of Amazon. For example, we are able to ingest runtime events from CloudTrail, from GuardDuty, because we also introduced this Monday the Wiz Defend.
Basically, very cool. Wiz Defend.
Wiz Defend. So we have our runtime eBPF sensor that helps you send telemetry, identify actual running threats. Think of you have a vulnerability that runs on a specific process, and then we can combine a signal from GuardDuty. Someone is trying to brute force SSH that, and 2 seconds before that, someone is doing describe EC2 instance. It's not an acronym, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's an Amazon.
It's a brand name.
But this is like an area that we take a lot of signals from our own tooling, from our own sensor, but also running signals from the cloud and identify threats and help you remediate and block things with our runtime sensor.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. I mean, actually, along with your announcement this week, we also announced extended threat detection in GuardDuty, which is again I think if we work back from the customer outcome, what they want is an attack path. They don't want individual findings. They want to be able to look at like you said, if the credential was compromised, where and how did it start, and what is going on in the current runtime process along with that. And I think using that telemetry and using that signal only enriches the overall graph database or the graph view that Wiz provides within the platform to the security teams.
Exactly. So we correlate all of those signals, put in everything in the security graph, and come up with those toxic combination and identify if you have any running attack path. And we even integrate with other services of Amazon. For example, if you want to export the data to Amazon Security Lake, CloudTrail Lake, and we even were a launch partner of the new Amazon Developer Q.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and congratulations for that. I was speaking to many other folks about that integration, Q Developer, correct? Right?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys build an amazing tool.
Yeah, no, thank you. And one of the other things where I want to highlight is that, detection is great, but then comes the idea of security teams diving deeper. Most of these detections end up either in a security incident event monitoring tool or a security orchestration tool that the centralized security teams are using. And we've democratized sort of the format of these findings and logs by launching or co-launching with a lot of our partners like yourself the open cybersecurity schema framework. And I think that's another area where I believe that our partnership will only help the security community get the results faster and easily, because when these logs and when these findings are all going into one place in that standard OCSF format, gives customers full flexibility and control on how they want to query and what they want to do with those.
Very interesting. So I see this trend. I think we were a launch partner. It was last reInvent, I think, for the Amazon Security Lake. And basically, Amazon Security Lake was the first tool that embraced OCSF, export and import.
Right.
And when we were a launch partner, we also now have the capability to export data from Wiz in an OCSF format. And I do see other tooling in the industry embrace the OCSF. And now we are also going to be able to import data into Wiz very soon, also in an OCSF format. So I truly realize that and understand that. And we also have our WIN program, okay, which basically is the Wiz Integration Network. This one.
Oh, is that what you're wearing up there?
Yeah, look, it's cool. I also have a badge for that.
Show the camera. That's going to be like a very sought-after pin, sir.
Yeah, so there is a program that we basically partner with the entire industry. We have more than 140 available integration and more than 250 partners in the program, ISVs. And I get to see more and more of them ask, oh, can I share data? Can you export data in OCSF, import data in OCSF? And that really, really helps to streamline sharing security data to help customers.
All for the fact of in looking at the full context of a potential attack path. We were just talking earlier in a few segments ago that everything starts with a log. Right?
Yes.
Not all logs are created equal. They have different formats and columns and max characters and et cetera, et cetera. But when it's in a common schema format, and also with partners like Wiz, that you yourselves have the Wiz integration network, so you have you're a great partner for us to like look at. Hey, you're able to really put the heuristics and the analysis and the actual risk scoring of all the context that happens around activity in a cloud. And you're pulling in data yourselves from many of our other partners that we're working with. I think that's, if there's a better together story, you pull in everything from our own cloud, everything from our ISV technology partners that are also there, and you're able to really score that and show people this is what's truly important for the context that you've told me about, right?
Very cool. And speaking of partnerships, and I think one of the other aspects of this is routes to market, which is where a lot of our teams come in and help partners as well. But I want to hear your point of view on especially your experience with the AWS partner team, the AWS marketplace experience, right, and how that's helped your go-to-market strategy as well.
So first of all, we are working with Amazon Marketplace, okay? We even have an award this week.
Congratulations. A few.
Congratulations. Marketplace partner, I think, of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously, being in the marketplace, that helps the transaction process. Like someone evaluate Wiz, want to buy Wiz, and already using Amazon. It's much easier for the procurement process. Just going with the marketplace. It's really make life much easier.
No additional quoting, procurement process, and that goes into
the vendor.
Department.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right. Oh, this is an approved vendor. It's Amazon Web Services. Great.
And our goal is to help customers as much as possible. And we want to skip the procurement process and to make it easier as much as possible to get the servers deployed and help the customers protect their cloud.
This is a great story, from removing undifferentiated heavy lifting, not only for the security personas
on the technical
side, but also on the buyer side, making things easier for the decision makers or the buying persona.
I'm sure you gentlemen have had past lives. You've been in that position of, I need this tool. I need it right now. And then wham comes the procurement process of your company, and it can really stink to slow. It's all about speed. Speed matters. Cybersecurity is probably the area where speed matters the most. We don't want to delay people on testing it out, kicking the tires. I think Wiz has an amazing free trial experience. I've played with it myself. So when you test it out, you run it your own environment, you see what it does, you see all the integrations they have with some of our native capabilities and other partners we work with. And then you actually want to buy it, right? Yeah. It's all about that simplified process all the way through. Oron, tell us a little bit more about code to cloud. I keep hearing this term from you all, and I see your strategy, and you're over there running products, and I'm sure you have places you want to go, which you may or may not be able to share with us right now. But you can, right? It's just Himanshu and I.
There are things I can share. Don't worry.
It's just the two of us here listening to you.
No one is listening. Yeah. Exactly. So basically, as we now have the Wiz Cloud and the Wiz Code capability, we'll be able to correlate what we call the Wiz Code, the code to cloud and cloud to code. Think of the following thing. You see a vulnerability running on a container, on a specific image. This container is publicly exposed because it has a vulnerability. If you compromise it, it can laterally move to database, contain API information. Now, you want to trace it back and actually understand who is the persona, who is actually the person that pushed this code into production in order to have the cloud to code concept in order to make the remediation faster.
Cloud back to code concept.
Yes. And there's like the other way around.
Interesting.
I'm writing something, I'm having a plain text secret on my code.
Never done it.
Never done it. Not recommended. But by the way, if you are using our policy, it will block you, right?
It will catch you.
Yeah, exactly.
You put these secrets in plain text in your code.
Exactly. But
is there like an electric shock you can add to that too? Maybe one of our IoT partners has something to... Sorry, I'm passionate about that one.
I understand that. So think of, you see a secret in your code, and you want to understand what will be the blast radius. Like, what will happen if this code will be deployed into production? What is the code to cloud aspect? Okay, and that's the thing that we're able to do once we have the Wiz Cloud and Wiz Code in place to help the customer have the full visibility on that.
Blast radius, just to peel that one open a little more, are you referring to potential attack surface or public access? Or what are the kind of factors are you talking about on blast radius?
Two things in the blast radius. By the way, we see it most with our Wind Defend. Okay, so think if you have an active attack. Someone is trying to brute force your container, VM, you name it. Now, you identify that the SOC team, the red team, identify that there's an attack path going on over right now. But what will be the blast radius? What will happen if this asset will be compromised? Okay? Should I have access, lateral move to an admin, and I have access to all the environment? Is this specific asset is not important, not connect to anything, doesn't have any PII, so the risk is even lower? This is the blast radius. Something is happening, but what is the impact of an attack or an incident to actually, take place?
This is actually truly like moving security shift left. I think, like you mentioned earlier. I think what one of the things maybe like help dive us in is that security teams oftentimes will spend time in dashboards or centralized views, and I think I can see where the graph database is very helpful to correlate and tie those things in. But the developer community is usually spending time in IDE, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's where maybe your Amazon Q integration, is that the direction that you're taking now, which is regardless of what IDE or development environment the developers are using, let's give them this visibility and provide them that value right where they are, versus trying to go into a different dashboard or view.
Yeah, so there's two aspects for that. One, in our Wiz Code capability, we have a native IDE plugin, so you can put it in your VS Code for that matter. It's not an acronym. I want to stay with one, only one coin. Only one coin. That's my goal. So think of the IDE plugin, in the VS Code, that if you write something, again, it checks the policy that you have in the cloud and apply the policy. And this is from one hand. From the other hand, we also integrate with Amazon Q, so you can go with the Amazon Q and ask a question, okay, what kind of security risk do I have right now, or what is the impact of this specific secret, or what is the risk of a specific VM asset? Because
there's several risks that a developer may be looking at, but does it really matter? Is it just going into my test environment? I'm going to play with it. Code's not actually going to go to production. That can be also a bit of noise to them sometimes, right? So that's a great thing to point out.
Yeah, bringing the right context into what the developer is going to do and which environment they are in.
We want to help the developers, right? We want to help the developers there, for sure.
Well, you're doing an amazing job over there, Oron, in product at Wiz. Really appreciate you.
It's a team effort.
A few seconds left, but what else is on your agenda? What are you looking forward to at reInvent?
So, first of all, we met with Amazon team. We keep on hearing on the new cool stuff that you're building. So going forward, hopefully to be launch partner for the next reInvent and next things. And also, it's very good to see all of our partners over here. To see the entire industry collaborate together in order to help the customer protect anything they build and run.
Absolutely.
It's a place to be for learning. Well, folks, Oron from Wiz, thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back with AWS's VP of Security Services, G. Rittenhouse. Be right back.